Let's see if we still got the top speed. What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things, and today I am re-unboxing my Evolve Bamboo GTX. You're probably wondering, why are you unboxing this again? And the reason for that is because I sent this back to Evolve all the way out in California for repairs. This video will basically serve as an update video to the original unboxing and review video I made on this board, and you can check that out at the link right up here in the corner. So as I get into this, I will give you guys a rundown of the entire story. So up until this point, this board has been great. It is probably still one of my favorite electric skateboards that I've reviewed here on the channel. And just because I sent this back for repairs doesn't really mean that I think anything less of the board. I just hope that the issue is finally resolved. So what happened after my review was that this board was one of my main boards for the next like 2 or 3 months following that. I put a bunch of miles on this thing and I really didn't run into any issues except for the controller. Every once in a while when I would take this board out after being charged, just sitting in my apartment, I would come down, turn the board on, turn the controller on, and then it wouldn't connect instantly. This didn't happen every time, but every once in a while I would have to press and hold the top mode button to get the two to pair together. It was definitely a little bit annoying because it did take like 30 seconds to a minute to get the board to pair, but the controller never really dropped connection while I was actually riding, so it wasn't dangerous by any means. It was just more of like an inconvenience. And then I continued riding this board as well as some other boards that you guys have seen on the channel already. And then basically this thing just turned into my fun long distance board. If I ever wanted to go out riding in a group of people or just riding for a very long time at high speeds, this is the board that I would choose for that. That was, however, until I started to run into more controller issues. This is with the new R2 remote, by the way. So the second issue I ran into was the actual trigger calibration of the controller. I would turn the board on, turn the controller on, hit the dead man switch, pull in the throttle, and nothing would happen. If I would push the board and then press the brakes would work, but not to their like best ability. It was kind of a weird, janky feeling that's kind of hard to explain on video. If I pulled the trigger just slightly, you could actually see and hear the motors and wheels move just about half of a centimeter, but that was it. That was all I was getting, so I contacted Evolve. Their customer service was great. I got on the phone with them twice in the same day. I explained the issues that I had going on and they sent over an email with a video in it. The video was simply to calibrate the trigger values of this controller, and if you're running into any issues where your controller is doing something similar to what I just explained, I will leave a link to that video in the description down below. So I reset the trigger values, started riding again, and then everything seemed fine until the controller stopped holding a charge. I contacted Evolve again, I let them know what was going on, I sent back the controller and they sent me a new one. Then with that new controller I was running into the same issues where I had to pair the controller with the board from time to time. Again, not the worst thing in the world, but it did get a little bit annoying. And then 2 months ago, after I took this board out for that night ride, if you guys want to check that video out, I will leave a link for it right here. I was riding the day after that, and again I ran into the same issue where the trigger was not giving me any response. The first thing I thought was, okay, well I'll just reset the trigger values again, so I reset them, again nothing. I tried to reset them again, and then nothing again. I tried to reset them one more time, and then the controller started giving me this error message right here. That was about the last straw for me. I was sick of it, so I called Evolve again. They told me they don't really know what's going on. My only option would be to send in the board and controller for them to look at. Now this thing's not cheap. When you buy it brand new shipped to your door, it's gonna be around $1,700 to $1,800. I would have tried to just fix it myself, however, because it is so pricey, I was like, alright, I'm just gonna send it back to these guys and hopefully they can fix the problem. I went to FedEx, I didn't have the box, all I took with me was the board and the controller, so I had to pay for shipping supplies and then shipping from Miami all the way to California. This is the part that sucks. Shipping this heavy board and the controller without any packing supplies, I bought it all there, cost me $180. So it's nice that the board was under warranty, however that shipping is killer. I understand that Evolve is not going to pay for shipping the board back to them if something is wrong with it, especially if they don't know that it was a problem on their end. However, they told me that they fixed this thing. I never wrote it in water or anything like that, so it was 100% not my fault that this board failed. I gotta check out this packing slip here to see what they had actually done to this board. Both of the motors and almost everything in the back here seem to be brand new. Even the trucks actually look very good. I think they probably just took my trucks and cleaned them up. So on the invoice I have a a service ticket, 2 GT series motors, so the motors are new, 2 Gen 3 motor plates, which those are also new as well, a remote firmware update for a circuit board, I'm assuming that is in this R2, another remote firmware update, again with the controller, replacement Evolve wheels. That is a nice touch. These wheels are brand new. I didn't have a whole lot of wear on my old ones, but that is nice considering I paid $180 to send this thing in for servicing. And then the board was cleaned and polished, and then the box. They obviously sent this with a GTX box. They also included another R2 remote case, which this shipped in, and that's about it. The total invoice price came out to $601.96. However, because it was under warranty, I didn't pay anything. So I kind of have mixed feelings about all of this together. The only thing I can really do is go out and ride this thing and see if any of those issues continue. I'm assuming this thing does not have a full charge, so I will throw this on the charger and I will check back with you guys once I'm out there riding. Alright guys, I'm out here in the middle of a fairly small town that I somewhat grew up in. I figured this would be the best place to test this because there are a lot of hills and very steep hills at that. I never really did a proper hill test on this, and out of all of my boards, if anything is going to climb them, this should be that board. Another thing that I did notice, which I don't have like pictures or video evidence of, if you want to call it that, is that when I sent this board in, the 2 motors back here were kind of crooked. I'm not exactly sure what caused it, but after riding this for a while, the motors were not directly in line. I believe it was something with the motor plates, but both of them were kind of tilted upwards. It didn't cause any performance issues, but when comparing this to some other people who had GTXs, I noticed that that was a little bit off. It seems to be straightened out now, so we'll see if that changes again in the future. Now is the real moment of truth. I'm going to turn the board on. Light is blinking, so we're good there. And then turn the controller on. They should have paired this at the factory, but I'm not going to be super surprised if it's not connected right away. And it is connected right away. Alright, so that's a good sign. It is in safe mode. I'll bump it up into, let's put it in slow mode to start. Dead man switch. And it looks like we're working now. I can definitely tell that the whole drivetrain is new. The wheels feel very smooth, as they should. Brakes and everything feel strong. And I can definitely tell that the belts are new as well. I'm gonna bump this thing up to my typical GT riding mode. And I should be good to go now. I love fresh pavement. This is probably gonna be weird to anyone who sees me around here on the streets because I highly doubt that anyone has ever ridden an electric skateboard around these streets other than myself. This hill right here actually looks like a really good hill for a hill test. This is a hill that I used to drive up every day going to high school, and it's definitely not the steepest in town, but I'd say this is a good start, maybe 15, 20% all the way to the top. Let's see how this thing does, starting from the very bottom, dead stop. No problem at all. Accelerates just like normal, like I'm on flat. Now this next part of the hill does get a little bit steeper. Here's an idea of like the hill gradient. I'm holding the camera pretty stable to level. Just like I thought, the board has no problem getting up hills like that. And this may just seem sort of like a placebo effect because I haven't been riding this board for the past like 2 months or so, but it does feel really strong. It feels really, really good. I would be curious to compare my reaction now riding it to my first reaction ever riding this board. Now here we have probably one of the steepest hills in town. I'm gonna slowly cruise down this and hope the brakes don't give out on me. It sort of looks like the road just drops off into nothing right here. No problem with that at all. Definitely definitely feel pretty confident on the board. I can tell that these are my same trucks because they have not changed the tightness or anything. I had been adjusting these to kind of fit my riding style as I rode this board, and it still feels pretty much exactly the same. Now let's see if we can go up the steepest hill here in town. That's gotta be like 30%. That is actually pretty impressive. I was doing like 17 miles an hour up that hill, and I really don't think that there's anything steeper than that around here right now. Riding up hills like that does take a little chunk out of your battery. However, this thing can go for miles and miles anyway, so not too shabby. So the board feels good. I am happy that it's fixed. However, was it really worth paying the premium for it between $1,700, $1,800 and then having to send it back a few months later to have it repaired? Like I said, $180-ish in shipping supplies and actual shipping because this has to go ground because of the batteries. Could I have found a cheaper way to ship it? Yeah, possibly, but I was kind of in a time crunch because I was moving. So what Evolve did with the new parts and everything, they fixed it under warranty. That's great. They included the new wheels. That's also great as well. They cleaned up the board. It's looking almost brand new. The only thing that I could really notice is a couple marks from like dust and dirt on top of the grip tape. Basically, it feels like a brand new board. However, it cost me that money to get back to them so it can be back in the state that it is now. They did also include a $50 gift card for their store, so that also adds to the whole price and cost of everything. But $50 to their store, what is that gonna get me? Maybe some new wheels or a new controller in the future? Even then, that's kind of just like a thank you, but I don't know. Let's see if we still got the top speed. Oh yeah, 26 miles an hour, no problem at all with that. Alright, so I'm back. That's about all the testing that I'm gonna do with this for today. Still have a bunch of battery left. I really didn't go that far. Just about 3 miles. So I guess we'll just talk about the pros and cons of this whole situation. A definite pro is that Evolve's customer service has been very, very good. They respond to emails almost instantly. They pick up the phone when you call them, and there are some other companies who compete with Evolve that I know don't do that for a fact. Their servicing was great. I'm glad that they threw in all of these extras like the wheels and everything, which wasn't really necessary. I am glad that everything is fixed and working properly. The specs on this board are obviously why it's one of my favorite boards. Super fast, it can climb hills, the double kingpin trucks are great. It is still one of my favorite boards, regardless of the issues that I've had with it. I am still a little bummed that I had to pay as much as I did for shipping this thing out to them, even though it wasn't really my fault that caused the issue. So because of that, I wish Evolve did do a little bit more other than just giving you a $50 coupon to their store. I'm obviously kind of walking that fine line like, yes, this was a good experience, no, this was a bad experience, and I'm still kind of there. However, in the end, I am really happy to have this board back, and it is still going to be one of my most ridden boards out of the bunch that I still own. I did buy this board when it was fairly new, and because it went back to warranty, I'm hoping that Evolve sort of learned something about their new controllers and whatever else they change on these boards. So hopefully when you buy one now and in the future when you're watching this video, I'm hoping that they won't run into any more issues with these. So if you have any experience with the R2 remote or any issues like that, did yours get resolved? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm curious to see if anyone bought a board like this around the same time as me, which was back in January of 2018. I'm curious if any of you ran into a similar issue like mine. So if you have any other questions about my experience, maybe about how the board was acting funny, leave those in the comments down below as well. I'll try to answer as many as I can, and that's gonna be it for today. So if you're new to the channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every week, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.